All right, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to briefly explain earnest money, and then at the end of the video I'm going to tell you guys what I've been up to today for real estate. So, by the way, my name is Brian. I am a realtor at Century 21 Kima Properties. So, earnest money is one of the first amounts of money that a buyer is going to have to come up with and pay for on a real estate purchase contract. If it's sort of just general idea, it could be $500, it could be $1,000. I think I've done a $2,000 one before, maybe more. Completely up to the buyer. The more the earnest money, I suppose, the stronger the offer is. Although I've not generally seen somebody lose out on a house or not get the deal because somebody else had more earnest money than they did. Although if everything else was completely equal, I'm sure that could happen. Comparing two different purchase contracts, like in a bidding war or something. So, earnest money, I've heard it called good faith money, but we call it earnest money. The buyer has to, as soon as the contract is signed, you have 24 hours to get the earnest money into a third-party bank account or a special earnest money bank account. It's actually there's a ton of laws around that. If I could lose my real estate license if I don't act urgently and don't get that earnest money handed over to my managing broker and put into the accounts like it's supposed to be. Okay, and that's just protecting the buyer. So the earnest money goes in, and if for some reason you decide to back out, let's say the buyer decides to back out of a purchase contract the last week, right before closing, because they got cold feet, no other reason than that, they are definitely going to lose the earnest money. Actually, in that situation, they could be liable for more issues. They could get sued. They could have some more problems because they broke a contract. But I'm not an attorney. All I can say is you would lose that earnest money, and that is the point of it, to kind of say, hey, I'm serious about this, so I'm going to put some money down. The buyer will get that money back at closing. It is applied to your loan or your financing at closing. So it's not just giving up money, you get it back at closing. Some ways that you get your earnest money back if you back out of the contract is most of the time we do a purchase contract contingent on a home inspection. So if you find something in the home inspection that's a defect, which I think I've done at least like 15 or 16 home inspections, or I've had clients that have had home inspections done this year, and there's not been one that didn't have some sort of a qualifying defect where the buyer could have said, nope, I don't want the house anymore because of this, and I'm out. And they get their earnest money back. The home inspectors will find defects on the house, and it's up to the buyer at that point if they want to continue or if they want to back out. Of course, the buyer is paying for that home inspection, about $400 probably, depends on the size of the house. So they would be out that money, but they would get their earnest money back. Additionally, if the buyer cannot secure financing, let's say they end up not having enough money for a down payment, or their credit isn't good enough, then the bank writes a letter to us for them that says, hey, this buyer we're not going to finance this buyer because of XYZ. the buyer can get their earnest money back. That's about it. On the surface, I suppose. There's so much more with earnest money and how legally we have to hold it in certain accounts. But I'm not going to go into all that. I'm already 3.5 minutes in. That was supposed to be a 30-second thing. So next, I'll tell you what I've been up to today. We'll try to do this quickly. I had a closing. It was an Allied Title Company, and it was for a lot, a subdivision lot. I've got a bunch of subdivision lots listed in Arcola, Illinois. It's a really nice subdivision with a park, with playground equipment, tennis courts, baseball diamonds, soccer fields. Really, really nice park right next to this neighborhood, and really nice houses. It's just a really nice area. And anyhow, I had a buyer that wanted to purchase one of these lots, so I helped him. I was actually a dual agent in that situation, which is actually fairly uncommon, I think. It's better typically to have a separate buyer and seller representation, but in this case, a lot is fairly straightforward, and of course it is up to the buyer who they want to use. So next, I just got back from checking the mail. That was one of my jobs today. I checked the mail at a commercial property in Arcola, Illinois that I have for sale, or listed, that I'm listing. And I check on that property once a week for them. Really, really unique, cool property. I'm actually meeting with one of the owners next week to go over some updates on the property and like how everything's gone, what our plans are for the future to get this property sold. Currently, I'm headed to Toledo, Illinois. There's a nice property there, and I have a buyer who is looking at this for the second time, and they are considering buying it. They're gonna put they have a horse they put out there. The house, they would do a little bit of work on it, and it's out in the country. It's got about 4 or 5 acres. It's be a really cool setup. So I'm hoping that I can help them with that, and just do everything they need me to do there. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Sorry this went so long. I'm out.